Despite all the past year's major events and near misses, this may be a good indicator, a warm up of what is ahead. While there's a balance that I try to strike on this channel by staying calm, because that's just my personality, I also don't want to give my community a false sense of security that lulls them into a slumber and apathy toward preparedness. It's easy to slip back into the routines and fall prey to what's called normality bias, but I would highly advise you to not make this mistake. The events that have transpired over the last few years, especially the previous 10 months, are, in my opinion, a good indicator of what we can reasonably expect in the future. So let's talk about it. If you're new to this channel, my name is Chris, and on this channel we discuss emergency preparedness, aka prepping. Now before we jump in, I hope you're ready for the Christmas holiday week that's coming up. If you haven't gotten that gift for that someone special, don't forget, you still have 1 week. And I'm saying that probably as a reminder to myself. I'm pretty excited about the week ahead, getting to spend time with my family and loved ones. And I don't know why, but I decided to start dieting about a week and a half ago, which is probably the worst time to start, right before the best time to eat the good stuff. I'm still trying to get rid of the weight that I picked up during Thanksgiving. Look, as each year winds down, I begin thinking about the progress that I've made over the last year and begin to plan for the future, the coming year. But the dilemma in doing this is not losing sight of the present. The funny thing about the present is that many are left scratching their heads over two thoughts when a shocking event occurs. The first is, how could this have happened? And if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you would know that we don't make bold predictions. We look at the real threats that may or may not come to fruition and the overall scale and impact that they could have. Avian flu wiping out 1 million chickens, it makes for some pretty clickbait headlines in the mainstream media. But still, if you watched our video on that, you would see we pointed out that 8 billion chickens are eaten in the United States annually, and that's a 21.9 million per day number. So while many were screaming about the poultry apocalypse, we were telling our subscribers about the inevitable higher prices what we were watching for before we started to worry, and other rational things that you needed to know. We were explaining the how could this happen. We also make efforts to explain the second question people wonder after disaster. Why was this so bad? Despite our best efforts to inform the world, we can only get the preparedness message out to just so many people. We need you to help us. And we encourage you to share our videos to help the preparedness message grow. But you can probably think of many people that you could share videos with who might watch them but would still fail to take any practical steps to prepare. They're the ones planning to show up at your door, get food from your pantry, borrow your backup generator, and more. And preppers don't ask themselves, why was this so bad? Because they have already explored the reasons, the scenarios, and the what ifs in their prepping process. For the prepared, the question is posed in calm reflection far from the event to better prepare for the next event. And those asking, why was this so bad? While still reeling in the aftermath of the disaster, they haven't been paying attention and working towards self-reflection of their dependence on infrastructure and just-in-time delivery of resources with a click of a mouse. The reality is we witnessed something like the Texas power crisis of 2021. And maybe we also remember the 2011 Groundhog Day blizzard of 2011. They don't delve into the history far enough to realize significant statewide shortages occurred also in 2003 and 1989 as well. Now, they may rationalize that these events only happen a decade or more apart, so they have 10 years to prepare for the next one. Then they're shocked when the next one occurs just next year, having trusted the government and the power companies to fix faulty insulators and develop better power management strategies, having thought that record-breaking mega cold blast was just a once-in-a-lifetime event and not an every once or every 2-year thing. The answer to why was this so bad is always because we failed to prepare. It's really akin to walking daily by a dripping pipe we may see on your house and then being shocked when winter cold bursts your pipes and destroys your plumbing. A little fix was required, but failing to do so led to a much more significant problem later. As you'll see in the comments on our videos from people who came to prepping through our channel after some personal tragedy they faced, they were better prepared the next time around. Many people thanked us after the Texas power crisis of 2021, and they recanted stories about how the little prepping that they had done and the time that they had prepared had really gotten them through that situation. But it could have been far, far worse, and so many of them saw neighbors of theirs negatively impacted in really difficult ways. And the absolute worst situation doesn't always happen, and we try to let you know that. When prominent mainstream media pundits were screaming about the inevitable diesel shortage, we were one of the first sources to tell you it was hyperbole. We informed you in that video while that could happen if refinery or drilling output suddenly collapsed, we weren't going to run out. We were going to see the price skyrocket because of some real factors and the effect of the hyperbole of others, but we weren't in danger. And when the railway strike was looming, we gave you a sober picture of what it would look like if it were to happen. Still, we also spelled out the probable path the government would take to intercede and why neither side of the negotiations wanted to give in and make concessions to find an agreement. Look, we'll always tell you what the threats are, real, possible, likely, to what extent, and most importantly, how you can protect and insulate yourself from the impact. We introduced a phrase recently on the channel. We didn't come up with this, but we thought it was very appropriate. The age of polycrisis. And let's be honest here. What's changed from Russia at the beginning of the year when they invaded Ukraine to today? The news, they've moved on. It doesn't get them as much revenue because people aren't really reading those articles as much. And maybe that's not a bad thing that people have moved on from fixating on that. But the threat has only grown to the world since that time. We've gotten really good at compartmentalizing threats that are no longer interesting. And then we just go back to pursuing that dopamine, that clicking away, the arguing, the complaining, the entertaining ourselves, etc. And you've probably heard the old proverb, the prudent see danger and they take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. You can bet that despite the disasters looming and our forewarning for them, many of your closest neighbors, your family and friends will still fail to prepare. Many will be scratching their heads, paralyzed and confused after a disaster, asking only, how could this have happened? And why was this so bad? As we reference in this week's newsletter, the one that we released right before this video, psychologists have a term for this behavior, this shutting down in the face of disaster. And again, it was a phrase we used at the beginning of the video, normality bias. Some will simply freeze up. Some will comfort strangers despite the fires closing in around them. They find themselves seeking the normal in a very abnormal situation. We're all sensitive to the perception of others, viewing us as abnormal. We learn at a very young age that it's not cool to overact. We don't want to draw attention to ourselves. And for too many of our own family, friends, and neighbors, prepping, it may seem like an overreaction. Are constantly pointing out that events are happening on a larger scale and with greater frequency elicits an argumentative or denying response from them. Still, it is vital that we let them know that there's still challenges on the horizon. History does have a tendency to repeat itself. Some of that stuff will miss us altogether, but some might be more extreme than we expect. The logical and rational reality is that one of these things will impact us. Whether that's simply a short and localized blackout because someone hit a transformer with their car, or it's a statewide outage from someone firing a high-powered rifle into multiple substations, or a plunging Arctic frost, the power will go out. And when it does, will you be in the light or lost in the dark? The point of the video is this. While the last year, or the previous several years for that matter, have been exhausting, don't allow yourself to normalize it, deny it, dismiss it, and slip into apathy. Don't minimize, rationalize, and dismiss what we have seen these last few years. It's easy to block it out and just move on. And let me be the first to say that I don't fixate on the problems happening around the world. I don't fixate on the past. I do take time to step away from it all. But it's my job on this channel to understand and report events and potential threats so you can utilize this information to prepare for them. Don't allow yourself to think things will just return to normal. The challenges on the horizon, they continue to grow by the day. And I could list them all out here, but that's not the point of this video. Plus, they're very nuanced, numerous, and interlaced. And I try to filter out the small things to give you the biggest of pictures. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know the issues that we try to keep you aware of are the ones that are the most likely or already feeling the impact of in your life. We encourage you not to allow fear to take over. Let it instead spur you forward and motivate you. Because I firmly believe this based on everything I'm seeing. We have a unique moment, an opportunity at this time to prepare. The calm before the storm, if you will. We're rolling out gardening videos right now to give you more information before the planting season starts to hopefully help you learn so you can start developing that skill set as the spring approaches when most people will begin to plant their gardens. We do this because we don't want to normalize the present or fear the future. Prepping provides us with greater control over our own fates. So here's my encouragement to you. As you get for the holidays with your family, your friends, your neighbors, look for opportunities to move beyond just any arguments or political differences. Instead, I want to encourage you, whenever a problem arises, ask each other what you're doing about it for yourself. If inflation is a topic, use it as an opportunity to talk about the garden that you're planting or what you're doing to save money. Buy in bulk or join a co-op. Change the nature of the dialogue from divisiveness to solutions. Let me leave you with this final thought. One of the most repeated questions on prepping channels is, how do I find like-minded people? How do I join a community of preppers? How do I motivate those around me to take this as seriously as I do? The answer is pretty simple. It starts with every gathering and conversation. Go ahead and reminisce with folks about the stories of your past together, but also share what you're doing to build a better future for yourself. You have just a little while to prepare for the disasters that are going to happen in the future. That moment is the present moment you're in right now. When that present moment is a holiday gathering, make it an opportunity to strengthen your network and resources. Don't squander your moments in the debate, but find out how people are solving their challenges today and their perceived challenges in the future. And things might not truly get bad, especially if we have thoughtfully prepared. Things might also get far worse than we could have ever imagined. We just don't know with complete certainty what the future holds. And when we prepare, we take back some control of our destiny. When we don't normalize what we see but choose to prepare for far worse, we take back even more power. When we do this alone, that's as far as we can get. When we do it as a community, we control our futures. I'm releasing this video a week before Christmas, and our team, including myself, are going to be taking off the next several weeks. We're going to be doing some videos, some cleanups, some work behind the scenes over the next 2 weeks, but we're going to take some time to step back and really prepare for this next year. Now, we do have a lot of practical videos lined up in the queue that we filmed in advance that we'll be rolling out, that we're excited about, some end of the year content, some more videos that we're going to be doing on our gardening series. And we as a team are excited about next year. There's a lot of opportunities, and I just, I just hope that, let me put it this way, that we don't see any more what I would consider black swan events, that we still can take advantage of this time that we have to prepare. There is a lot of opportunity right now that we have to make ready for the challenges ahead. I've got plans over the holiday to do a lot of work internally in my home, change out some food in my long-term food pantry. There's some things that I'm getting ready for. And again, I can't say this enough. Take advantage of what time we have. While I'm not afraid of the future, I'm acutely aware of the fact that there are several major challenges barreling down toward us that will have profound impacts on us all. And I, like you, am looking for solutions to lessen the impact of it that it will have on our family. And I'm excited to share these practical solutions as I learn in the coming months. We've got this. Time is not necessarily on our side, but like my uncle always told me, make hay while the sun shines. The sun is shining, and let's take advantage of it. As always, stay safe out there.